Across the vast American South, and extending all the way to New York, a silent infiltration is occurring. A persistent creeper is scaling oak and hickory trees, obscuring native foliage beneath a cloak of lustrous, heart-shaped leaves. To agencies like the USDA and state-level invasive species committees, this botanical entity is a verdant menace, a prime threat necessitating its complete eradication. Yet, in East Asia, this very plant forms the bedrock of a multi-billion-dollar agricultural sector, serving for millennia as a premier medicinal remedy for digestive well-being and vitality enhancement. Most remarkably, its introduction to American shores in the 1800s was no accident. It arrived as a potential salvation for the Western world. We are presently expending millions of dollars on eradicating a plant originally brought to our lands to safeguard us against famine. A plant possessing medicinal constituents found in scarce few other edible organisms. And no, we are not discussing kudzu. This is the narrative of the cinnamon vine, Dioscorea polystachya, also recognized as nagaimo, or the Chinese yam, a vegetable that addressed a biological predicament we had seemingly forgotten. Today we will delve into the reasons behind our programmed inclination to destroy it. If your interest lies in uncovering forgotten crops left behind by history and mastering the art of transforming common weeds into sources of plenty, be sure to like this video and subscribe. Let us embark on this exploration. To comprehend why this vine flourishes unchecked in Tennessee today, we must journey back to one of the most somber periods in agricultural history, the Irish potato famine. The year is 1840. The potato blight, Phytophthora infestans, was systematically destroying the primary caloric staple of the Western world. Europe faced widespread starvation, and American farmers harbored profound anxieties that the blight would decimate the food supply of the New World. Subsequently, enter William Robert Prince. Prince, a fourth-generation nurseryman hailing from Flushing, New York, was a distinguished figure in American horticulture. In 1855, he published a groundbreaking treatise that ignited a fervor. He proclaimed the discovery of the edible future, a plant utterly impervious to the potato blight, capable of storage in a cellar for extended periods without spoilage, and possessing a nutritional profile surpassing any known tuber. That plant was Dioscorea batatas, presently known as Dioscorea polystachya. For a fleeting interval between 1855 and 1860, the Chinese yam ascended to prominence in the agricultural realm. Prince and fellow nurserymen marketed diminutive tubers at exorbitant prices, equivalent to hundreds of dollars in contemporary currency. Farmers eagerly sought this miraculous crop, convinced it would entirely supplant the potato. This was not mere charlatanry. Prince was drawing upon ancient wisdom. In China, where the plant is known as shan yao, it had been revered for countless centuries. The Divine Farmer's Herb Root Classic, a text originating from the Han Dynasty, classified it as a superior tonic adept at replenishing qi, fortifying the spleen, and nourishing the lungs. The West believed it had unearthed the ultimate survival crop, a caloric source that also served as medicine. Therefore, if this plant was disease-resistant, exceptionally nutritious, and lauded by experts, why is it not more prevalent in the West? Why does it exist as a weed in our woodlands, rather than a staple on our dinner tables? The crux of the issue lies in the mechanics of its harvest. A typical potato grows horizontally, nestled comfortably within the uppermost 6 to 8 inches of topsoil, easily unearthed with a hoe or plow. The Chinese yam, however, is a vertical cultivator. A single tuber can descend 3 to 5 feet directly into the subsoil, anchoring itself with formidable strength. During the mid to late 19th century, agriculture was transitioning from manual labor to horse-drawn and steam-powered mechanization. The newly developed plows and harvesters were engineered for shallow excavation. When farmers attempted to operate these machines across fields of Chinese yams, the equipment either sustained damage or the brittle tubers fractured deep within the earth, leaving the majority of the harvest inaccessible. By the 1880s, the advent of Bordeaux mixture, a fungicide, enabled farmers to effectively manage the potato blight. The urgent necessity for a substitute vanished. Faced with the choice between a potato that could be harvested by machinery in mere minutes or a superior yam requiring a man with a shovel to excavate a 4-foot trench. Capitalism opted for the potato. The edible of the future was abandoned, surviving only in ornamental gardens, appreciated for the fragrant cinnamon scent of its blossoms, until it inevitably breached garden fences to reclaim the wilderness. It is imperative to grasp precisely how this plant functions, as its biology renders it both an invasive challenge and a permaculture marvel. Dioscorea polystachya is a perennial vine that withers to the ground each autumn. Beneath the surface, the tuber expands year after year, acting as a reservoir of nutrients. Because it grows deeply rather than broadly, it accesses mineral deposits within the subsoil that surface-level crops like corn and wheat can never reach. Above ground, the vine ascends by twining. A key characteristic for identifying the edible Dioscorea polystachya is its clockwise twining motion from lower left to upper right. Its leaves are distinctively heart-shaped or fiddle-shaped, boasting a glossy green finish and purplish veins. However, the definitive feature and the source of its reproductive prowess are the aerial bulbs. In late summer and early autumn, the vine produces tiny potato-like nodules in the leaf axils. These are termed air potatoes. They range in size from a pea to a marble and emit a faint cinnamon aroma, giving the plant its common name. These bulblets are biological replicas. When they detach and fall to the forest floor, they germinate into new plants. This effortless propagation is why the USDA categorizes it as a serious threat. But for a permaculturist, it is an ideal scenario, a crop that self-seeds. By forsaking the cinnamon vine for the potato, we relinquished more than just a caloric source. We turned our backs on a nutritional powerhouse that continues to eclipse modern tubers. The nutritional profile of Dioscorea polystachya is so exceptional that it essentially constitutes its own food classification. Let us first address its texture. When fresh nagaimo is cut, it exhibits a slimy quality. This mucilage is attributed to a glycoprotein known as mucin. While Americans might find this texture unappealing, this slime is medicinal. Studies indicate that mucin functions as a gastric protectant, forming a coating on the lining of the stomach and intestines. In an era rife with ulcers, acid reflux, and intestinal inflammation, this vegetable provides a soothing, restorative barrier that dry, starchy potatoes simply cannot offer. Then there are the enzymes. Nagaimo is the sole root vegetable globally that can be consumed entirely raw, due to its high concentrations of diastase and amylase, the same digestive enzymes present in human saliva. When you consume a potato, your body expends considerable effort to break down complex starches. When you eat raw nagaimo, the vegetable aids in its own digestion. It is so potent that in Japan, it is traditionally served grated over rich, fatty meats, specifically to facilitate digestion. Nutritionally, the statistics are impressive. A single cup of diced nagaimo contains approximately 816 milligrams of potassium, representing about 25% of your daily recommended intake, and significantly more than a standard white potato, which typically provides between 400 and 600 milligrams for a comparable serving. It is also rich in resistant starch, which nourishes beneficial gut bacteria rather than causing blood sugar spikes. However, the true claim to superfood status stems from a compound called allantoin. This is a cell proliferant, a substance that promotes rapid cell growth and healing. It is the same active ingredient found in comfrey and in snail slime, utilized in high-end skincare products. Internal consumption of allantoin has been associated with accelerated tissue repair and anti-inflammatory effects. If you wish to reintroduce this crop into your life, the most secure method is to cultivate it yourself rather than forage. The cinnamon vine is exceptionally resilient, thriving in USDA hardiness zones 4 through 8. It can withstand harsh winters in Minnesota and humid summers in Georgia. Tubers or bulblets can be procured from Asian grocery stores, often labeled as nagaimo, yamaimo, or Chinese yam, or through specialized online permaculture nurseries. Avoid planting an entire tuber. Simply sever the upper portion of a store-bought root and plant it, or sow the aerial bulbs like seeds in the spring. However, recall the mechanical limitations of the 1800s. You do not want to excavate a 4-foot trench in your backyard. The revival of this crop hinges on harvesting techniques that William Robert Prince did not envision. Modern cultivators employ the gutter method. Obtain a standard rain gutter or a wide PVC pipe cut lengthwise. Fill it with loose, sandy soil and bury it in your garden at a 15-degree angle. Plant the seed at the upper end. As the root grows, it follows the path of the pipe, developing long and straight while remaining just inches below the surface. Upon harvest in the autumn, simply extract the pipe and slide out the clean tuber. No trenching is necessary. Subsequently, leave a few tubers in the ground, and they will regenerate in the spring. Before incorporating this into your daily diet, it is crucial to be aware of important safety considerations. Firstly, the peel contains needle-like calcium oxalate crystals, known as raphides. If you peel this tuber with unprotected hands, you may experience significant itching or contact dermatitis. Always wear gloves when peeling, or rinse the tuber in a vinegar solution to neutralize the crystals. Once cooked or ingested, these crystals pose no danger to most individuals. Secondly, because many Dioscorea species contain diosgenin, a precursor utilized in laboratories for the synthesis of steroid hormones, there are traditional advisories for individuals with hormone-sensitive conditions, such as certain cancers, endometriosis, or uterine fibroids. While dietary levels are generally considered safe, and this tuber serves as a staple for millions in Asia, anyone with these conditions should consult a physician before consuming large quantities. Furthermore, due to its exceptionally high potassium content, individuals with kidney disease who must monitor their potassium intake should consume this vegetable in moderation. If you intend to forage for this plant in the wild, a serious warning is paramount. You must possess a thorough understanding of botany to avoid a potentially toxic error. A similar-looking plant exists, known as the air potato, Dioscorea bulbifera. This is a distinct species primarily found in Florida and along the Gulf Coast, although their ranges can overlap. The key differentiator lies in the texture of the aerial bulbs. The edible cinnamon vine's bulblets are relatively smooth, yet slightly warty, whereas the potentially toxic Dioscorea bulbifera often has rounder, smoother bulblets resembling asteroids or moon rocks. The wild yam, Dioscorea villosa, is native to North America and is bitter and inedible. If foraging, absolute certainty in your identification is essential. Never harvest vines from roadsides, power line clearings, or public parks, as these areas are frequently treated with potent herbicides like triclopyr to eliminate this exact plant. For those prepared to partake, its culinary versatility is unparalleled. The most renowned preparation is the Japanese dish tororo. Simply grate the raw tuber into a white, sticky paste and serve it over rice or soba noodles. It imparts a refreshing, crisp flavor and aids in digestion. If the slime is too pronounced for your palate, treat it like a water chestnut. Slice it into rounds and pan-fry them until golden brown. It retains a delightful crunch and never becomes mushy. Alternatively, toss cubed root into soups, where the mucin acts as a natural gluten-free thickener, providing body to the broth while promoting gut healing. We label the cinnamon vine an invader, a weed, and a threat. We allocate millions of dollars to its eradication. However, perhaps the issue is not with the plant, but with us. We perceive abundance as a nuisance when it does not conform to the rigid specifications of a combine harvester. This vine offers us an opportunity to reassess our relationship with food. It provides a gut-healing medicine that tastes like a crisp pear when raw and a savory potato when cooked. It presents a method for vertical farming, drawing nutrients from the deep earth. The next time you observe that heart-shaped leaf strangling a tree in the woods, do not simply see a weed. See a forgotten chapter of agricultural history awaiting rediscovery.